Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Sightless Flame. Synopsis. It's a command and not a request. Look me in the eyes, he said. I said, look me in the eyes. He shouted louder to the point that I couldn't help but tremble. She's blind, someone shouted from the crowd. I could feel my legs becoming weak. Are you blind? He inquired, but I remained silent. Don't make me say it again, are you blind? He yelled in exasperation. Yes, I replied with a quivering and tearful voice. A blind mate, he bellowed for all to hear. The moon goddess must be very generous to have given me a blind mate, a worthless and feeble one. What can a blind person do? They serve no purpose, he expressed as those words struck me hard. You will never be adequate for me, and thus it would be a waste to have you as my mate, he declared as my legs weakened, causing me to collapse onto the floor. I wished that he would just stop because all his words were like daggers to the heart. I, Alpha Ace Ray D King, reject you as a mate. Episode 1. Prologue. The disastrous part of acting strong is that nobody cares to ask if you are okay, if somebody treats you badly. Remember that there is something wrong with them, not you, because normal people see the beauty inside you and not the thing outside. When we were young, we were taught that our mates were supposed to care for us regardless of what you look like, even if you were handicapped or blind, they are supposed to treat you nicely, let's say like a queen. They are supposed to love you, care for you and kindly support you through thick and thin. I thought when I found my mate, he would love me regardless of who I was. I understood having a mate wasn't exactly like a fairy tale as I thought when I turned 20 years old. Lucia! A voice yelled. I believed that it was none of my business until I was swirled around with a growl escaping the person's mouth. The growl was enchanting but yet scary. Alpha Ace! The murmuring of people around me were loud for me to listen to. Why was I feeling those chills? Wait, the man who twirled me around was an alpha? Sabrina, stoop your gaze, you shouldn't show him that you are blind. A voice echoed in my head. But I couldn't after the most alluring scent hit my nostril. My body almost jumped. Mate! There was no way his scent was this strong to catch my scrutiny. Grandmother said you could know if you looked them in the eyes, but I was blind, I wouldn't know and he wouldn't. Maybe he could have looked me in the eye. He placed a hand on my chin to lift my head, but I refused to look him in the eyes. It's a command and not a request, look me in the eyes, he let out. I said look me in the eyes. He yelled louder that I couldn't help but shiver. She's blind, someone let out in the crowd. I could feel my legs go weak. Are you blind? He asked, but I kept mute. Don't let me repeat myself, are you blind? He yelled in frustration. Yes, I said with a teary and shaky voice. A blind mate, he yelled out for everyone to hear. The moon goddess must be great to have given me a blind mate, a useless and weak one. What can a blind person do? They are of no use, he let out as those words hit me hard. You would never be good enough for me and therefore it would be a waste to have you as my mate, he said as my legs went weak. I couldn't help it as I fell on the floor. I wished that he could just stop because all his words were assassinating to the heart. I, Alpha Ace Ray D King, reject you for a mate. Sabrina Santiago everywhere and everything has been dark and blurry for the past 16 years. My eyes had no vision. That horrible day still haunts me every single day. Laying on my bed and seeing absolutely nothing but the light that shades the blind was what I have faced since the accident that took my parent. There was a huge celebration going on today in our pack. Alphas from all the different cities came to our pack. There was always a celebration where the unmated try to find their mate. This happens every year when there is a full moon. The werewolves get to be blessed by the moon goddess. My name is Sabrina Santiago and I have been blind for 16 years. I always fight the belief of accepting the fact that I will find my mate one of these days. I thought being blind wasn't the reason why I hadn't found my mate. Maybe it wasn't just my turn, right? Not that my life wasn't beautiful or nice, it was perfect since I lived with my younger sister and grandma. Call me stupid, but I would prefer having my sister and grandma than having a mate. I have heard rumors about people being rejected by their mate. To be sincere, being blind had made me erase my mind from the thought of ever finding my mate. Every mating celebration, I would sit in the wood and paint. Wait, you might be wondering how I could paint, right? Everything comes from the heart and thought. So, every time the alpha came into our pack, I would go into the woods and hide there till it was over, because every person in our pack who was old enough would have gone to find their mate. It always hurt that I didn't go, but I just couldn't do anything about it. I happened to listen to beautiful stories about how people get mated and that made me imagine how my mate would act around me. Would he love me? I haven't heard of any rejection in a long while. Does that mean the moon goddess has been good to everyone? This year was different because the alpha's son was coming back to the pack after a long time of going to school and training to become a great alpha. Currently, I am getting ready to go to the woods. I know the pack is getting ready for a huge celebration. The big hall where everybody would be dressed in one of their best clothing must have been prepared. I heard that there was always a separate chair for the alphas and their lunas. Enough food and drinks were being served for everybody. Today my sister is turning 18 and I know she should also be getting ready to find her mate. Linda had been talking about how she couldn't wait to see her mate. For some reason, I felt a little embarrassed, but all I wanted was happiness for my sister even if I couldn't get one, right? My 18-year-old cousin's brother who lived with us felt he didn't need a mate if he could live his life just having every girl in his bed. Some people say when you meet your mate, you tend to scent high, while some say you get some kinda heat. While everybody was happy for the big day, I decided to go into the woods as always. Mainly, people hardly come to the woods, they feel the woods aren't that safe. As I sauntered into the wood, the smell of food kept whacking my nostrils. I could smell just all the delicious and amazing foods I knew. I didn't want to be bothered about the smell since I wasn't going to be among the people who would feast on such meals. I held all my drawing equipment as I kept walking in the direction I used every time for 14 years. I could sense my movement and environment even if I couldn't see, the moment I got into the woods. I almost dropped to the floor when I stumbled into a hard chest. I was almost on the floor when those hands caught my waist. "Hello? Who is here?" I asked with a shaky hand as I adjusted myself before standing upright. "Excuse me, I'm right in front of you," the voice spoke up. "Wait, it's a he. Is this fate? Is he the one? I mean my mate," I thought to myself, trying to bend my gaze even if I couldn't see him. Sorry, I didn't see you coming, I let out softly, trying to be on my coolest behavior. Are you blind or something? He asked yet again. Did he expect me to tell him? Oh yes, I'm blind, couldn't he see? What about, you keep in track of the person in front of you, so you don't make the mistake of stumbling on someone else, he let out, making me nod. What's your name? I asked out of the blue. Why do you ask? What are you even doing inside the woods? Don't you see how dangerous it can be? He asked. What with him and me seeing? Couldn't he tell that I was blind? Why did I care about his name? There wasn't any scent or heat being felt or smelled. My name is Jasper, the name is Jasper, he let out, making me nod. What's yours? He asked back. Sabrina, I let out. I stood wondering whether he was tall, light skin, dark skin, short, broad shoulders, just anything that piqued at my imagination at that point. Why aren't you going to the mating celebration? He asked, making me shake my head. What is the problem? Aren't you into men? He asked, making me chuckle. I love men, just that I don't fit to be there, I let out, making him chuckle this time. I have never been to a mating celebration either. Why don't we go together? He suggested, making me wiggle my head as a no, but all my no was in vain when a hand intertwined into mine. We should go together, let's watch the show for the first time, he let out as I was being pulled to God knows where. The instant the door opened, there was cheering everywhere. I couldn't help it as a nervous smile escaped my lips. Why did you bring me here? I asked as his grip tightened on my hand. Because we don't deserve to be in the woods while they have fun, we should be able to eat good food and drink too, Jasper let out. Ace Ray King 2 weeks ago Ace, things have changed. I mean, Lucia let out with a little chuckle that showed that she was holding up to be strong. This wasn't her usual mood. I wanted to hug her, soothe her and tell her I was here for her, but how on earth was I going to show her? We both sat on an empty bench outside the hospital, the evening breeze was great and the stars shone brightly. I stared at her for a few seconds before she broke the silence. Ace, are you still here? She asked, turning just everywhere. I took hold of her hands before giving them a gentle squeeze. She seemed to be lost because she couldn't see me. The accident that happened 3 weeks ago had taken her sight. Do you want to hear a secret? I asked her, making her nod calmly. So, aside from taking my breath away, what else do you do for a living? I said, but instead, tears found their way down her cheeks. She slipped her hands gently from my grip as they lingered on my chest. How I have missed her this past week. She had been in the hospital for those past weeks. Her hands finally found their way up my face after multiple touches to find them. I can't even see how handsome you look any longer. I can't see the amazing clothes you put on that make you stand out and that killer smile that keeps my heart scampering, she said as her tears came out like a faulty tap. Shush, I said as I pulled her into a tight hug. I always like it when you share your pain with me and not anybody, but right now it hurts me to see those tears flow freely from those gorgeous eyes, I said, placing my hands to wipe her tears, but she pushed them away. Did you just say gorgeous, Ace? How gorgeous are they? She asked, staring blankly in the other direction that was in front of her. I stood up before pulling her up for a tight hug. I was glad that she didn't reject them. I kept placing soft and tender kisses on her head to calm her down. Ace, I think we should break up. These past few weeks have been the worst and I can't be a burden on you, she let out, making my whole knees go weak. It felt like I was being shot in the chest. Break up? Why? Don't tell me you are giving up on us because you can't see me. I asked as I tried to hug her, but she pushed me away. The only thing worse is being blind and having no sight or vision. Do you know how that feels, Ace? She let out as she tried to move but fell on the floor. I moved to help her on her feet but she declined. Can we talk about this some other time? You need to rest, I let out, but she declined. No Ace, we have to stop whatever we have, she let out firmly. How can I do that, Lucia? I love you regardless of it, I tried to say, but she caught me short. Regardless of my disability Ace, that's my point. I can't watch your favorite movie with you, walk on my own without the aid of a stick, cook your favorite dish, watch the stars together, what good would I be? She let out painfully. I'm not complaining, Lucia, I tried to make her understand. Ace, please leave, she let out. But I don't want to, I love you, Lucia, I said with a mixture of fright and confusion. Leave or I scream, she mumbled. Lucia, let's go over everything again, I said. Help! She screamed once more, which caught the attention of those that were passing by. My heart was in chaos, and I felt like it was about to be torn into pieces. Don't push me away, love. I know you can't see, but despite the fact, I still love you. Love isn't what they see, but what is being felt, and trust me, okay? You are the most beautiful and precious creature in the entire universe. I'll make sure that we still cuddle, play, and chat together, because I believe that you will be able to see through my eyes, so, please. I'm on my knees, and I'm begging you, don't push me away. Don't push us away, and try to make us work. I pleaded, but she just wouldn't give a listening ear. I was about to move towards her but her friend Camilla was quick to stop me. Just leave Ace, she let out as I turned to leave. I ran my fingers through my curly hair as I sipped from the bitter content I held. I wasn't supposed to feel this hopeless and miserable. I wasn't supposed to give up on our love, but she had already done that by leaving me for good. I felt a drop of tears slip down my cheeks and I hated myself for acting this downhearted. Alphas are strong, you shouldn't cry, I howled at myself, but I just couldn't help it as the tears came gushing out. My heart was pained and shattered. Lucia, I thought we had found love? I thought I had found my soulmate, but then you were a lesson and a heartbreak to my heart, I growled as I hit my chest in pain. You have hurt me in ways I never expected or deserved. We gave love a chance, but you shattered me. I'm scared and sad because I don't think I will ever recover from this pain. The tears I didn't want to flow came more than I had expected because the strength that held me dearly left. The door cracked open and Sean walked in. What are you doing here? I asked but he ignored my questions. Your father wants you back home, he says it's time Alpha. Sean let out. You know I hate it when you call me that. I said. Get over whatever you feel, you can't let your mother worry about you and Lucian. Sean, my very best friend since we were born, said before leaving. Ace Ray D King present day hey, darling. The voice of my mother echoed in my office. Mother, I said, moving to give her a peck on the cheeks. Have some of this coffee, you seem not to be having enough sleep, she let out a little worried. I have been searching for Lucian since I got back home. I stared at the multiple maps and search papers, we searched every possible place but we still couldn't find her. You know I hate it when you feel miserable, any news on Lucian? She asked. Nothing, absolutely nothing mother, I said as she set the coffee on the table. Son, your mother will always be here for you and no word can express my love for you. Don't ever be afraid to tell me anything, I'll always try my best to listen and I promise to get Lucian to you, she let out before engulfing her son in a big hug. You should drink the coffee before it gets really cold, she let out as she aimed for the door. The pack celebration is coming up, the moon goddess might have a surprise for you, she said with a wink. It had been weeks of searching for Luciana and we still couldn't find her. The celebration coming up in the pack wasn't something I was worried about. All I was worried sick about was Luciana, but it seems she had really left me. Sabrina Santiago, have some of this, they are really tasty, the voice of Jasper let out as he spoon feeds. Wow, the meat speaks the expensive language to the mouth and they are delicious, I let out as loud laughter escaped his lips. Don't worry, I will make sure you have your tummy filled before we leave, he let out as he spoon-fed me yet again. You don't have to do this, even if I'm blind. I know the road to my mouth. I let out. Instead of complaining why don't you have something more tastier, he let out before shoving more from where it came from. Oh my yummy, I let out happily. What? You seem overwhelmed, he let out. I can't help it since the food is really good and we hardly eat anything like that, I let out as a hand was felt, patting my head softly. I promise to feed you a lot of this then, he said as I beamed with a smile. Can you wait here while I get something? Jasper asked, making me nod. Did you see the alpha? A female voice spoke and Sabrina couldn't help but listen. Yeah, he is so handsome. How I wish he would just look at me, another let out as a hiccup escaped Sabrina's throat. She wished she was in her usual environment, just maybe she could have located the kitchen. Right now she wished Jasper was around to help her with something to stop the hiccup. After 5 minutes of the discomfort of hiccuping, she decided to find her way to get water. After multiple turns, hits, and apologies, she was standing at the drink table gulping down a cup of water like her life depended on it. Lucia! A voice yelled. She believed that it was none of her business until she was swirled around with a growl escaping the person's mouth. The growl was enchanting but yet scary. Alpha Ace! The murmuring of people around her was loud for her to listen to. Why was I feeling those chills? Wait, the man who twirled me around was an alpha? Sabrina, stoop your gaze, you shouldn't show him that you are blind. A voice echoed in my head. But I couldn't after the most alluring scent hit my nostril. My body almost jumped. Mate, there was no way his scent was this strong to catch my scrutiny. Grandmother said you could know if you looked them in the eyes, but I was blind, I wouldn't know and he wouldn't. Maybe he could have looked me in the eye. He placed a hand on my chin to lift my head, but I refused to look him in the eyes. It's a command and not a request, look me in the eyes, he let out. I said look me in the eyes, he yelled louder that I couldn't help but shiver. She's blind, someone let out in the crowd. I could feel my legs go weak. Are you blind? He asked, but I kept mute. Don't let me repeat myself, are you blind? He yelled in frustration. Yes, I said with a teary and shaky voice. A blind mate, he yelled out for everyone to hear. The moon goddess must be great to have given me a blind mate, a useless and weak one. What can a blind person do? They are of no use, he let out as those words hit me hard. You would never be good enough for me and therefore it would be a waste to have you as my mate, he said as my legs went weak. I couldn't help it as I fell on the floor. I wished that he could just stop because all his words were assassinating to the heart. I, Alpha Ace Ray D King reject you for a mate, he let those words out, shattering my whole heart in pieces in embarrassment. Why do I regret coming here? I shouldn't be here? I stood up to leave but his next words made me sick to my tummy. I don't want to ever set eyes on you. You might not survive being alive if we meet again, he let out as I tried to find my way out of the mating hall. The embarrassment broke my heart. The moment I couldn't hear any voices, I let out all the tears I had been willing to let out. This was the end. I was never going to find a mate. You're amazing and I will be glad to be your mate, the comforting voice came. Ace Ray D King. The mating hall seemed to be noisy and full of crowds. I wasn't really a fan of so many people gathered around, but I needed to get used to it if I wanted to be a good and great alpha. The blasting music made everything less awkward. Mother wouldn't let me out of her sight. Everything seemed boring to me. The people at the party had full and blossom smiles that showed that they loved this celebration that occurred once a year. The ladies kept sending me some seductive signs. One of many of them even went as far as pulling her sleeve a little to show me her little oranges. Mother, I need to get something upstairs, I whispered close to her ear before leaving. I was midway up the stairs when a familiar hair and petite body caught my attention. Wait, is this real? I asked myself. Ace, there is only one way to find out. I let out as I pushed through the crowd to get to her. Lucia, I yelled, but she ignored me, which I hated. I sighed deeply before twirling her around. The moment she turned around, the confusion in my face was clear, but it was hard to look away. I hated to admit the loss of control in those eyes of hers were putting me through. Why do I feel this pull just looking at her? Mine, mate, my wolf yelled in my head happily. There was something about this creature that got me so taut. I was surprised when my hands held her chin but she crouched her gaze on the floor. Why did she do that? Do I disgust her? It's a command and not a request. Look me in the eyes, I let out with a little frustration and irritation at why she wouldn't stare at me in the eyes. The ladies in the mating hall would be pleased to glare at me at just any time. Was she deaf or something? I just told her to stare at me in the eyes. The heat I was feeling was a burning sensation that I just couldn't explain. I said, look me in the eyes, I let out, as I could feel her chin shaking in my hand. She's blind, Sean let out and that instantly made me confused. Blind? Lucia, are you blind? I asked, not wanting to believe that the moon goddess sent Lucia as someone else. Lucia is the only blind woman that would ever love me. Why wasn't she answering? Don't let me repeat myself, are you blind? I yelled. Yes, she let out as my hands went shaky. A blind mate, I let out in frustration. I'm blind, Ace. Blind people are useless, the voice of Lucia echoed in my head. The moon goddess must be great to have blessed me with a blind mate, a useless and weak one. What can a blind person do? They are of no use, I let out. Yes. They all run away like coward. I can't let anybody put me down. Alpha Ace Ray D King reject you for a mate, I let out. I don't want to ever set eyes on you, or you might not survive being alive if we meet again. I let out before leaving the mating hall. Ace? Wait up, I heard Sean's voice. I don't want to hear you speak, just get me all the strongest alcohol we have in stock. I let out. Alpha Jasper Roman, I couldn't help it as a huge smile plastered across my lips. Coming to the Red Moon Pack was actually a great idea because it led me to Sabrina. My thought lingered on what happened a while ago, when she ate from the spoon I fed her, and I couldn't help but blush at her reaction. I grabbed the cup of juice in my hand as I headed back to where I left Sabrina. The glass I held in my hand went to the floor from watching the heart-wrenching scenery in front of me. Why did the moon goddess have to bless her with? Did he just call her weak and useless? I was going to punch in the face, but he had already rejected her and broken her into a million pieces. I ran after her, but the wind outside was too heavy. I knew she wouldn't have gone far. After multiple turns, I found her clutched tightly on the floor as she cried her eyes out. I wasn't going to stop her from crying. You're amazing and I would be glad to be your mate, I let out. I mean, when you go through time and cannot think straight or ahead, you should think of the people who still care for you and love you, I let out. I'm sorry, but this hurts so badly, she let out. Yes, I understand that it's supposed to hurt. I won't stop you from crying, but I'm here to give you a shoulder to lean on and cry on, I let out as I pulled her into a tight hug. Jasper, I want to remove the pain I feel in my chest, she let out shakily. I can't guarantee that you will ever forget this incident, but I can help you forget your pain for now, I let out, caressing her back gently. Here, drink this, I let out as I handed her a cup of liquor. What is this, Jasper? She asked, shaking the contents. Don't worry, I won't poison you, it's something to help relieve you for the night. I let out. But why are you helping me? I mean, I'm useless, she let out, making those words sting. I couldn't help it as I hit her chin with my hands. Ouch! Why did you do that? She asked, making me smile. Just drink up, I said as she gulped the substance. It tastes bitter, Jasper, but I love the aftertaste. Could I have more? She asked, making me nod even if she couldn't see me. After gulping down 5 cups, she was still asking for more, which I had to get. Wait here, I will get you more. I let out before heading inside to get her another cup, but before I could head back she was gone. Sabrina Santiago, pain. Pain was all I could feel right now. I could hear the excited voices that filled the air. They must have enjoyed the little show that was displayed a few hours ago. How embarrassing, Sabrina. My mother had told me when I was just 6 that bad times don't last forever, but presently I feel like this night wouldn't end. That piece of advice doesn't make sense to me right now. I must have drunk too much of the liquid substance that I started to feel tipsy and I desperately needed to use the restroom. Jasper wasn't back yet and I just couldn't hold myself any longer. This was the time that I needed my grandmother and my sister the most. The thought of what happened earlier made me gulp all the remaining content as a teardrop found its way down my cheeks before dropping on my hands. I decided to locate the restroom but ended up falling heavily on the floor after multiple tries. "Calm down, Sabrina, I can help you locate the restroom," I heard a voice. "Anybody here?" I let out but got no reply. "You must be hallucinating, Sabrina," I muttered to myself. "No, you aren't, I have been with you since you turned 18, the voice echoed out yet again. "Wait, that was from my head or something. Move straight ahead, there are stairs that lead to a bedroom. There is a restroom there," the voice let out. I was going to ask how she knew that but I lost balance, making me push the door open. "Where am I?" I asked, hoping she would say something. "A room, there is a door to the left." "I think it's the restroom," the voice let out as I touched invisible stuff to get to the door. The moment I was done in the restroom, I decided to sleep a little on the empty bed before going home. Alpha Ace King, my heart hurt from the pain I felt. Luciana is the only woman I love and would ever love. I stared at the bottle in my hand before drinking everything. Sometimes, all I can do is lay on my bed with the hope of drifting to sleep before I fall apart. I can't, Lucia, I can't seem to get you off my mind. Your love was the only real thing in my small world. I let out before ruffling my hair. Right now, I can't even face the world. I have come to accept that we are over, but I need time to sew back my bleeding heart, I let out, wiping the tears that were threatening to fall. "That is enough, Ace," the voice of Sean echoed loudly, and I hated the fact that he had to intrude. "It's late and tomorrow there is a lot to take care of," he said before pulling me up. "Let me have some more, Sean," I let out. "No," he muttered before grabbing the bottle from me. He held me by the shoulder as he dragged me to God knows where. "Let me have some more," I let out drowsily. "No, I need to get something snappily." "Wait right here," he said before leaving. I cleared my eyes as I walked up the stairs. I smiled after I noticed my door. "You were right there all along," I said as I held the wall to get to the door. I shoved the doorknob wide open as I stumbled into the room. I closed the door before turning around to notice Lucia lying down on the bed. How I missed her so much. I locked the door before pulling my clothes off. I dropped on the bed before moving close to her. "I miss you, Lucia," I said before placing soft kisses on her hands. I turned her around as her gaze seemed to stare at me like they always do. I pecked her lips and she seemed to protest a little. "Don't you miss me, Luciana?" I asked, but she gave no reply but to turn around on the bed. I pulled her closer before smashing my lips on hers, and that was all I could remember. The morning light shines through the curtain as they flash rays of sunlight reflection to my eyes. My head was hit hard by the liquor I had taken at night. I tried to pull my hand but became mystified when I noticed the body clutched next to me. I couldn't help it as a roar escaped my lips and she instantly sprang up. "Wait, My rejected mate. How did we end up? How did you seduce me? I let out with a yell of frustration. I don't know what you're talking about, she replied, a bit confused as well. How did you end up here? Do you think by doing this I might reconsider my rejection? I yelled as I put on my clothes which were scattered on the floor. No, I swear, I didn't know how this happened, she let out, bending her gaze. You might end up dead since I don't go back on my words, I let out. If being dead is my fate, I might accept what has been destined for me, but you can grant me the wish of seeing my loved one first, she let out. Aren't you scared? I was a bit taken aback. I have been blind almost all my life and being dead doesn't necessarily mean anything because the only thing I thought was going to brighten my life had rejected me, she let out. How dare you? I roared in anger. Was she making me feel guilty? I still reject you for a mate. Blind people are incompetent and weak. I won't kill you but throw you into the dangerous woods for animals to feed on. I let out in anger. I watched as she went on her knees to solicit but I had made up my mind. Sabrina Santiago, I can't count the amount of times my eyes have blinked out tears. Being thrown and banished from a place you call your home is the most painful thing anybody should experience. My eyes were burning from the sunlight and I couldn't detect exactly where I was. I can't even tell if I knew where I was going or where I presently stood. I felt dizzy. I felt that I needed to live and reunite with my family again. My feet hurt badly and I presently regret being blind. Yes, Alpha was right. I was weak and useless, I let out as I fell to the ground to cry. There was no one else who cared about me. I was frustrated and afraid. I stood up even if I was weak and hungry. Sighing, I couldn't take one step further as I burst out into uncontrollable tears. Sabrina, you shouldn't have gone to the party, why did you have to go there? I cried bitterly. The woods are dangerous right now, we need to get you to a safe place, a voice let out. Who are you? I let out, afraid that I was going to die any minute from now. I'm Siv, your wolf, Siv mind linked. I can sense danger and you need to run as you have never done before, Siv mind linked again. Why should I trust you? I asked. Because we are one, Siv mind linked as an intoxicating heat filled my body. Wait, did I just shift? I would have been jumping and telling my sister Linda if I was home, but I was banished and I don't know if I can see her again. I blinked my eyes and to my utmost shock, I could see the leaves, the sunlight, the ground. How come? I muttered to myself. It's because your wolf eyes are different from your human ones, you can only use them when you are strong and not weak. Siv mind linked. We have no time, you have to run until you get to find help. Siv mind linked. With that, I didn't stop running for 1 minute. My legs were in so much pain that I couldn't feel them anymore, but I couldn't stop because I could sense the footsteps that were following from behind. I'm sorry, I let out, as I could feel my wolf getting weak. I couldn't go further when my leg bumped a stick, making me roll on the floor. My body was in pain as I kept shoving so many leaves, but all that came to an end when my head bumped a stone. I must have died. I thought as everything went into total darkness. The Dark Howler Pack Alpha Kaikon, the guards had contacted me saying that they had found a rogue close to our border. Why do I care about this specific rogue? I could have killed any rogue who wasn't in our pack with a blink of an eye. As I approached the clutched body, I could see her bleeding on the head and my wolf seemed bothered. The heat I felt inside me seemed to be growing as I edged closer to her. I was about to touch her but my beta Adam tried to stop me. You can't just touch her, we don't know exactly who she is or where she came from, he tried to reason. She needs our help, I roared. What if she is infected with a disease or an enemy, my beta said. Then we have to rush her to the doctor in the pack, I yelled. The guards should take her, we can't afford to put you in danger, my beta Adam reasoned, but I declined. No, nobody gets to touch her, I let out confused at why I was acting in such a way. I grabbed her by the waist before placing her in my arms. Her eyes lit up and the moment my eyes gazed at them, my wolf began to jump in my head and just like that, the words flushed out from my mouth. Mine, mate. The moment Dr. Leon had taken care of her he stood to talk to me. You know your mother would be against this, Dr. Leon had said. Against what? I asked, staring at how peacefully she was sleeping. You brought in a rogue to the pack, you showed tenderness that shouldn't be exhibited, he let out before patting my shoulder and leaving. I turned around when Beta walked into the pack hospital. What made you do this? Your mother has gotten the news and feels like she should be killed instantly, Beta let out, making my wolf furious. Killed? This is never going to happen, I yelled. Why are you doing this, please? You are breaking the pack rule Alpha, Beta Adam tried to reason. My wolf says she is the one, I let out, staring at her. What do you mean? He asked. My mate, I mumbled silently, as I rubbed my face tiredly. I need to see. My mother tried to mind link but I blocked her before she could go further. Guard the pack hospital and let nobody inside, I'm taking the day off until her eyes lit up. I told my beta as he nodded before leaving. I woke up to notice that she was still out. I looked at my mate and I just couldn't help it as my hand stretched to touch her tender face but she woke up, making me withdraw them very fast. She seemed to be looking just anywhere. Where is this SIV? Her tender and soft voice spoke for the first time. Who was she talking to? I murmured to myself. Wait, what should I say? Should I introduce myself? Kai, you need to say something, my wolf mind linked. You're at the Dark Howler pack, I let out in a soft tone. I hated the fact that she made me so soft. She began to panic the instant she heard what I had said. It is normal for her to panic since this was the most dangerous pack with the most heartless and hazardous alpha. I'm sorry for crossing your border, please spare me, she pleaded. What pack are you from? I inquired. She tried to say something but it came out as a sob. I won't kill you, I let out to stop her from sobbing. But why? She asked. Because I just found my mate, I let out with a smile. Sabrina Santiago, my head hurts badly and I see nothing but darkness. Siv, my wolf must be weak, where is this place? I asked, hoping she would mind link me, but became a bit startled when I sensed something close. You're in the Dark Howler pack, the voice replied softly. The Dark Howler pack, as Grandma said, was the most dangerous pack in the whole of the country and they were known to kill intruders. They don't come for the yearly celebration of the Red Moon Pack where the unmated find their mate. I couldn't help but panic, knowing fully well that I was going to be killed sooner or later without getting to see my loved ones. I'm sorry for crossing your border, please spare me, I pleaded for my life as a tear escaped my eyes. What pack are you from? He inquired, making me look just anywhere. I won't kill you, he let out. I should be happy that he wasn't planning on killing me, but why was he not assassinating me? But why? I asked out of nowhere. I bit my bottom lip for fear that I shouldn't have asked. Because I found my mate, he muttered. The scent of fresh grass and blossoming cherries filled the air and I could feel the excitement of my wolf. The scent felt nice, but yet I felt uncomfortable. Why are you here in my pack? Were you sent to spy on us? He asked, making me toss my head. I'm from the Red Moon Pack. I got rejected by my mate because I'm blind. I don't know what exactly I had done to him. He says the blind are useless and weak, I let out. I almost flinched when he engulfed me into a hug. I tried to back away, but it felt safe. I didn't mean to do this, please forgive me for inconveniencing you in such a way, he apologized. It's fine, I stutter from the warmth his hugs gave me. I won't reject you, he let out, confusing me. Who exactly am I talking to and why does he act this way with me? I mind-linked SIV. His Alpha Kaikon of the Dark Howler Pack. SIV mind-linked, making me sprang up immediately. I bent my gaze before apologizing. I'm sorry Alpha, please spare me, I pleaded. You're blind you say, how do you know I was the Alpha? I didn't mention anything to you, he said, making me bite my bottom lip. I figured that the Alpha would be the only one that could spare me, I cooked up instantly. I want to teach you so many things, I want to have a strong Luna, I guess the moon goddess really favored me by blessing me with a beautiful blind mate, he let out, making me feel dizzy. My wolf seemed to be overjoyed that she was trying hard to take my body. I would let you stay in my pack, he offered. It is wrong for me to stay in your pack. My grandma tells me stories about your pack and one of the rules is that I might get killed. Trust me, nobody can harm my mate, he let out with finality. You seem to be feeling better, me Luce, he let out, as I felt my hair being pushed behind my ear. I wanted to say something but he had already bit me for it. We should head to the pack house already, it's getting late me Luce, he muttered. Why would I stay at the pack house? I mean I can actually survive staying in a house on my own, I murmured. I almost whimpered in pain because of how furious my wolf was getting. You should let our mate take control, SIV mind-linked shamelessly. No, you are my me Luce and you are staying with me, he muttered, making SIV happy. He is much better than that coward of an Alpha that rejects us, SIV mind-linked. Wouldn't your parents get mad? I asked out of the blue, but instead, he intertwined our hands before pulling me into the cool breeze. Enough of me Luce, tell me everything about you, he let out. I'm Sabrina Santiago, I have this amazing sister who just turned 18 and my lovely grandma. Wait, I have this cousin's brother who doesn't believe in mating. I let out excitedly. Does your sister have a mate? He asked. Well, I was going to find out before I got rejected and banished, I let out and instantly I felt connected to this person, it felt like I had known him all my life or something. "Where are we?" I asked, as the sound of the door went cracking open. "It's my house, it's close to the pack house," he let out proudly. "I wish I could see what this place looks like," I muttered to myself. "I can lend you my eyes, SIV, mind-linked. Is that possible?" I mind-linked back. "Yes, and I can only do that when I'm happy and excited," SIV explained. "Then, I would be honored if you lend them to me," I let out excitedly. My wolf eyes had a little blur in them, but I could still see. "Wait, is that Lily and Valley?" I let out excitedly. "Yes, how do you know?" He turned, and that was the first time I had seen such beautiful eyes. "How did you know they were Lily and Valley?" he inquired, fetching me back from my little lust. "I can smell the sweet scent, my grandma had them planted," I said. "You are standing exactly where I hid them," he said. "I think I should tell you something that just happened," I said, staring at those luscious eyes that were concentrated on me. "I can see you, like right now," I let out, sounding dumb. "I thought you said you were blind," he asked like he wasn't sure to believe anything that would come out of my mouth. "Not like I got my sight back, my wolf let me obtain her eyes," I let out. "Why hasn't she been letting you borrow it then?" he asked. "I just found out I could shift into my wolf after I got rejected. Trust me, I have been with darkness since I was 6. I let out. "She is just letting me borrow it, for now, it's not forever," I said. "Really, me loose?" he asked with a smile. "Yep, your house is incredible, Alpha Kai," I said, glaring at the house that was fabricated expensively. "Call me Kai, come inside," he said, ushering me inside. The moment we were inside the beautifully furnished house, a lady was sitting patiently waiting. "Mom," was all Kia had to say for my eyes to go back into darkness again. "Alpha Kaikon Mom." I muttered, a bit unhappy because I already knew why she had visited herself. A mother's love for her child is like nothing else in the world. It knows no law, no pity. She advises her son on what is right and crushes down remorselessly all that stands in her son's way, she let out while trying to stare at Sabrina. "Mother, I don't understand," I muttered. "Don't play stupid with me, you know that all rogues found in the Dark Howler pack get killed based on our rules. What if she is infected or an enemy?" she asked. But I wasn't planning on listening to anything she had to say regarding me loose. "I won't allow any rules in the pack to make me kill her." "I don't want to sound disrespectful, but not even you mother can make me kill her," I roared, making my mother raise a finger to slap me, but she halted before leaving in anger. "I'm sorry, you can just grant me a wish and let me go," me loose let out, making me growl. "You aren't going anywhere, it took me a long time to finally find you and I promise to protect you," I let out before pulling her into a tight hug. "Feel free to do anything you want," I let out, patting her hair calmly. "Since you say I can do anything I want, can I stay in the guest room if you have one?" she asked calmly. "Yes, if that would make you happy, me loose," I let out before patting her cheeks playfully. "Do you like your room?" I let out but got no reply. I turned around to find nobody. "Me loose," I called, searching every place till I found her standing in the same position as I had left her. "You scared me for a second," what are you standing there for me, Luce? I asked, catching my breath. I can't see, I think my wolf might have collected her eyes, and right now I can't seem to mind link her, she let out. I moved towards her before intertwining our fingers together. Your room is quiet next to mine, don't hesitate if you need just anything, I let out, making her inch closer to me. I need some clothes, she whispered. I would ask my beta to get you some, do you want anything else? I asked her but she wiggled her head which indicated a no. Wait, what size do you wear? I asked. I really don't know, she replied. Are you hungry? I asked after her tummy made some sounds but she wiggled her head. I know you aren't hungry but I want to see you eat, I want to see my mate eat for the first time, I muttered as I noticed her playing with the tip of her hair. Those reactions made her look like a cute teddy. I led her to my kitchen as I pulled a stool for her to sit. What do you want me to cook for you? I asked. Cook for me? She asked, a bit surprised. Yes, you don't trust that I can cook? I asked. No, that's not it, just that nobody has ever asked if they should prepare something for me, she said, staring in every direction. Then, I'm ready to be your chief as long as you want, I muttered with a smile on her face. Yes, if it would keep that smile on your face, I said. Can I ask you something? We both let out in unison. All right, ask first, I said. The Dark Howler pack is being feared by people in my pack. They say the Alpha Kaikon isn't someone merciful or kind-hearted and he kills traitors and intruders in the blink of an eye. These are tales that still roam everywhere in my pack, she let out, and that broke me instantly. Yeah, it's true, but I haven't killed any intruders since I took the reins of the pack after my dead father. My father has done so many things that have made everybody think I must be like him. I choose to accept his ways or we might get stepped on by other packs, I let out as I chopped the beef. Your dad is said to be one of the greatest alphas to have ruled, she let out. Did you study everything about my pack? I must be doing a great job as an alpha, I let out proudly. Ending up here was a wish I would never have prayed for, she let out those words that undermined to hurt me and at the same time, I understand why she had said that. But you showed me otherwise since I came. I choose not to judge a person by a mere book, she muttered as I poured the beef into the boiling water. My turn to ask, I let out peeling out the dirty part from the potato. Were you born blind? I asked, turning to face her. I'm sorry if I had brought back sad memories, we can just skip that, I let out the moment I noticed the change in her mood. You might think asking might inconvenience me but I do like to share with you, she said. Are you sure you want to? I asked. Yes, she let out confidently. My parents had an accident that caused me my sight, she let out. Your beef and burley soup is ready, I let out, dropping the huge bowl right in front of her. This smells really nice, I cannot wait to taste it, she let out with a smile. Can you place my hands on the spoon please? She asked. I can feed you. I rendered, but she declined. You can just help me locate the spoon this once and I will do the rest of the feeding, she let out. This is yummy, she let out the moment she had her first bite. I'm honored you like it, I let out a chuckle. Sabrina Santiago, thank you for the meal, I let out with a tired yawn. You seem sleepy, it's already 9:30 p.m. You should be asleep already, he let out as I tried to stand up but ended up plunging the bowl that I had eaten from on the floor. The cracking sound told me that I might have broken them. I'm sorry, I should clean up the mess, I said, bending down to pick up whatever broken piece that was lying on the floor. Let me handle it. I heard him say that but I couldn't let him clean my mess up. I said let me handle it Sabrina, he let out with a growl that showed that I was getting him upset. You can't possibly see what is in your front and that might cause an injury, he said, holding my hand. Stay put till I am done cleaning, he ordered, making me nod. After 5 minutes of standing in that position, I could sense some movement. Alpha Kai, I'm sorry for causing you such huge trouble, I let out, bending my gaze from embarrassment. First of all, I do love my name to be pronounced by you without the alpha included and secondly, you are one of the bravest people I know, he muttered, making my heart thump. Now we need to get you to sleep, me loose, he let out as I felt giant hands lifting me up. Wait, I tried to say, but I felt a finger of his on my lips. Shush, he ordered. I would be lying if I were to say everything seemed normal. Was it possible for the moon goddess to bless me with a second chance mate? Was this what having a mate felt like? This was the thought that kept wandering in my mind as I was being taken to God knows where. Where are we? I asked the moment I was dropped on soft content. Your room as you requested, he let out. So, this is what a soft bed feels like, I let out as I felt a hand on my cheeks. The fresh breath of cherry fanned my face. He's going to kiss us, my wolf mind linked, making me close my mouth with my hands. See you tomorrow me loose, your clothes will be here first thing tomorrow, he whispered. Good night, he let out with a chuckle, the sound of the door being closed told me he had left already. I slowly positioned myself pulling the pillow to clutch. My mind couldn't help it as they lingered to the time Siv lent me her eyes. The beautiful feeling of seeing again swept me into a deep sleep. I couldn't tell where I was. It was pitch dark, and if not for the dim light the moon lent on me, I wouldn't have known that I was standing in the middle of a long narrow road, with tall trees, which created dark images, hovering over me. I was barefooted, and all I had on was a nightwear, which was not enough to protect my body from the chilly wind that blew in all directions, causing me to shudder. With slow steps, I began to walk forward, with my teeth clattering and my entire body shivering. I held myself with both hands, trying to keep myself warm, but it was of little or no help. It was as though every step I took made the road even longer and narrower, but I continued walking. I needed to find a way out of this place. I could not just stand in the middle of the road, waiting for someone to save my life, when I knew there was no one to come to my rescue. The walls began to close in on me, and with the aid of my hands, I tried to push them away, but my effort proved to be futile. My heartbeat began pounding heavily, as my teeth chattered, and I moved in circles, with confusion at my mind's peak. There's no escape from me, Sabrina, I heard the voice of my former mate say. My eyes searched around for him, and when they did find him, he was standing right in front of me. I turned around, wanting to run in the other direction, but again, I found him there. Anywhere I looked, he was there. He was literally everywhere, and I was on the verge of screaming, when his hands tightened around my throat, preventing any word from leaving my mouth. I gasped for air, and beat his hands aggressively, so he could leave me alone, but instead, the strong hold his hands had around my throat only grew tighter. "Goodbye, Sabrina," he said. I was choking and couldn't breathe. Tears rolled down my cheeks as I felt the life I had being pulled out from me. When my eyes finally closed, I heard a different voice call out my name loudly. "Sabrina! Sabrina!" With the last ounce of strength I possessed in me, I opened my eyes, and discovered no one was trying to strangle me to death again. I was panting hard, and kept rubbing my neck over and over again, coughing out loud. "Sabrina, are you okay?" Alpha Kai asked. That was when I realized, to my greatest happiness, that it had all been a nightmare. I was in Alpha Kai's house, lying on a soft bed, and not on a narrow road, where someone was trying to end my life. He held me in his arms, stroking my hair, and patting my back. "You're safe now, it was just a dream," he said to me. In his arms, I felt safe. His warmth brought comfort and a soothing feeling to me. I was safe now, I was safe. Alpha Kaikon, the moonlight and the stars made the night bright. After 3 hours of sitting in my home office to finish up this hefty workload, I was finally done. A tired yawn escaped my lips as I stretched my hands, making them make some cracking and yet relieving sounds. I stood up to make myself some cup of coffee but halted when the voice of Luce got my attention. The panting sound of her voice frightened me. I trotted into her room like a hysterical man hoping to kill any intruder who was messing with my mate, but became calm when I noticed that she was only having a nightmare. I sat down at the edge of the bed as I tried to wake her up from the disastrous dream she was having, but she appeared to be too intense. I became nervous and anxious when she started choking in her sleep and breathing became rough for her to do on her own. "Sabrina, Sabrina, wake up," I said, trembling her body. She finally woke up in heavy pants. "Sabrina, are you okay?" I asked, pulling her into a hug. "You're safe now, it was only a dream," I said, stroking her hair calmly as she bobbed her head calmly in return. The moment I could feel her comfortable snore and the beat of her heart against my chest. I carried her in my arms as she wrapped her tiny hands around my neck, making me smile, and I could feel the happiness of my wolf. I wasn't letting her sleep in her room, I was going to watch her sleep through the night in my room. I laid her on the bed the moment I got to the room. I tried to leave to get the coffee, but she held my hands tightly, making me slide next to her. I turned off the side lamp before wrapping my hands around her waist and pulling her closer. "Good night, Luce," I let out before kissing her on the hair before sleeping. "Sabrina Santiago." The chipping sound of birds woke me up. It seemed to be morning. I tried to stretch my hands, but they caressed soft lips. I was so stunned that I had to withdraw my hands instantly. I tried to get up, but there was a hand that was strongly entangled around my waist. The aura of the room was that of Alpha Kaikon. Wait, how did I get here? Did I sleepwalk here? I was doomed. If he had to wake up and see us like this, "Sabrina, what should you do?" I thought to myself as I bit my bottom lips in both nervousness and frustration. I felt better the moment the hands were off my waist. I roused from bed. The early morning sunlight must be shining brightly as I placed my hand in the air trying to figure out what direction the sun was hitting from. The sunlight must have jolted you from your sleep. I heard the croaky and yet sorting voice of Alpha Kai. I instantly bent my head in guilt. Please forgive my stupidity for having to sleep in your room, I murmured as I bit my bottom lip aggressively. They ended up percolating as I began to taste my blood. You seem to have had a nightmare yesterday and I felt you might be safer here, he explained. Sorry for causing you so much worry, I muttered. I heard nothing from him but a single chuckle. You seem to like the sun though? He asked. The sun, I stuttered. You seem to be focused on the direction of the sun, he let out. I can sense, smell, and feel things I have long witnessed in my life. I let out. What exactly can you sense? He asked further. Blind people can't see. They are keener to rely on smell, and most especially feel things to know where they are, like the smell of wet sand after it rains. The sound of objects leads me faster to them. Through imagination, most things are possible. I let out. The brain of a blind person makes a connection in the absence of visual information which gives a heightened sense of hearing, touch, and smell, I further explained. The silence that fell between us showed that he wasn't satisfied with my answers. I tried to say, but he was quick to interrupt. You're adorable, he said, patting my hair softly. The touch of another hand grasping mine told me he had stopped patting my hair. I have to get out of the pack to do one of two things. Would you be fine staying here? Wait, you can come if you want. He offered. No, I would be fine, I said, hoping he wouldn't put on much pressure. I will serve you something before I leave, he let out, earning a quick nod from me. He held my hands as we walked downstairs. Alpha, we have been waiting, and here are the clothes you asked me to buy, a voice let out. Thanks for the clothes, but you guys might wait longer since I have to make breakfast for me Luce here, Alpha Kai let out. She is your Luna, you should show care, Alpha Kai let out, stunning me. Wait outside, I will be with you in a few minutes, I heard Kai decree. The door closing told me that he had left. Here, I'm just leaving for a few hours. I will be back as soon as we are done, he explained while dropping a plate in front of me. Thanks for the omelette, I muttered. You're always welcome, me Luce. Don't hesitate to finish your oat too, he said, placing a soft kiss on my forehead. The kiss was wet and yet tender. The thought of him being cold, as most others have thought, amazed me. He didn't even reject me, as my first mate did. I wonder why he called me Luce. What does that even mean? I was still in my thoughts when the banging of the door wide open startled me. I was still trying to figure out what was happening when I was forcefully dragged to the floor. You think you can take my mate away from me? The voice of an angry lady spoke. Why, you can't speak. The voice let out. The drops of hot oat plummeted on my head as they slipped onto my face. Why are you doing this? I mumbled, tears from the pain I felt plunged to the floor. There wasn't any reply as I felt something being hovered around my face and my mouth being tied. Take her away, was all my ears could hear. Third person Tiana looked pleased seeing them tie Sabrina with a rope around the chair. She couldn't help it as a cruel and wicked grin appeared on her lips. She had instructed the guard she asked to supervise Sabrina not to give her any food or water. Tiana took out the blindfold from Sabrina's face roughly. She collected the ice-cold water before splashing the entire cold content on Sabrina. "You seem tired and I was trying to wake you up," Tiana let out sarcastically. "Who are you and what do you want?" Sabrina asked with a shaky voice that was mixed with tiredness. She tried to sense where she was but it was of no use. "If you want to know who I would grant you the wish before you die," Tiana said with horrific laughter. "I'm Tiana, the girl you're trying to steal her man from," Tiana let out. "Steal? I stole nobody from you. Trust me." Sabrina let out in a pleading voice but that only made Tiana angrier. Without saying much, Tiana pulled Sabrina tightly by the hair. She was happy seeing Sabrina gasp in pain and suffering. "Please, I have never stolen anything in my life," Sabrina pleaded in agony. "Do you want to know the sin you have committed, you evil witch?" Tiana asked, increasing her grip on Sabrina's hair. "Yee, sss," Sabrina whimpered in pain. "It was very easy to guess if you were really smart. Alpha Kaikon is what you have stolen," Tiana let out as she let Sabrina's hair go. "But I didn't steal him, he was just helping me for a while." "I swear that is the entire truth," Sabrina told Tiana as she touched her neck. It was hurting badly from the way Tiana had pulled her hair. You came into our pack from nowhere. You came in as a rogue, an intruder who was supposed to be killed but he still spared you and took you to his humble abode. Do you know what that means?" Tiana asked with a scream. "But I never asked for that, trust me," Sabrina muttered. "How dare you interrupt me?" Tiana let out before sending Sabrina a harsh smack on the face. "You should let me finish what I have to say before you interrupt me," Tiana warned. "I would only let you leave this pack alive if you tell me the real reason you came into our pack," Tiana let out a bit surprised that Sabrina didn't flinch from her slap. "Get me the iron rod from the fire," Tiana ordered. "Alpha Kaikon, I had just gotten back and the time was 6:30 p.m. All through the day, my thoughts wandered around me loose. What would she be doing right now? The smile I saw on her face before I left home today brought some smiles to my face. I had gotten her some cake on my way home and I couldn't wait to watch her eat them. The minute I trudged into the house, I almost lost my mind when I noticed the oat on the floor and the fallen chair. Me loose, I yelled as I searched every nook and cranny of the house but couldn't find her. What if the enemy had gotten her? The thought of that was freaking me out badly. I had made sure all the guards searched everywhere for her and never returned until they had found her. "Alpha, Tiana isn't anywhere to be found," my beta Collins said, making me mad. Tiana was the girl my mother wanted me to mark and make my Luna, but she was the entire opposite I had wanted from a woman. We must find her before she does anything rash. I wouldn't let her live a day if anything happens to Sabrina, I let out angrily. All my thoughts were on how to kill Tiana but I couldn't until I had found me loose. After searching everywhere, I decided to ask my mum for Tiana. After waiting for several hours, she appeared peeking unbothered. I couldn't help it as I held on to her neck. "Where is me loose?" I let out as I held on to her neck tightly, making her fight for air to breathe. "What are you doing?" "Let her go," the voice of my mother yelled. I won't until she brings out me loose, I said, standing my ground. I don't know about what you are looking for, but how sure are you that she has that thing? My mother let out. She took her, I let out. It's a command, Kai, let her go, my mom let out as I involuntarily let go of her neck. I watched as she coughed hard and tried to find her breath. I know nothing, she let out, making me angry. Alpha, we found her tossed on the floor around the children's park, my beta mind linked. You better not let me find out that you have something to do with what happened to me, Luce, I warned before leaving. The moment I got to the children's park, I was angry to see my mate and in bruises. Who dared to strip her for people to see? Who had done this to her? You are all dismissed for the night. Make an announcement for everybody in the pack to retire to their various homes. Anybody found outside in 5 minutes should be killed. I let out angrily. I took off my shirt before wrapping it around her, but stopped when I noticed the burnt scar on her back. She seemed to be out as I wrapped the clothes all over her before carrying her on my back. I'm sorry that you had to go through this. I will find whoever did this and make them pay for doing this to you, me loose. I let out, making my wolf yell in my head in agreement. The pack was quiet as a graveyard as I walked back to my house with the stars and moon guiding us. I promise to protect you, me loose, I muttered, feeling furious for letting this happen to her. Grandma, I can't stay alone anymore, she let out on my back as a tear touched my exposed skin. Sabrina Santiago, the tickling sound of raindrops on the roofing wasn't sorting. My body felt literally on fire, I could feel my tears trail burning down my cheeks. My inner body and back burned and my chest ached from the pain and fear of being tortured again. My eyelids felt heavy and my head was like a musical drum that was being hit aggressively. I shouldn't have been sleeping, they were going to torture me again. I used all my strength. I had to sit upright. I clutched my body together. The first footsteps I heard scared the living daylight out of me. I looked over my shoulder, but there was no one, it was just my imagination. The touch of warmth in my hand confused me. This was a bed that felt warm. How is there a bed here? The cracking noise of the door made me stagger back in fear. You're awake. The familiar voice of Alpha Kai was visible to my hearing and, for no reason, I felt a bit calm. I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have left you here alone without seeing that you were guided properly. He let out. I want to leave, you have taken care of me enough and I appreciate your help, I mumbled as the hot trail of cracks left my eyes. No, why? He said in anger. Why? You don't know why. I let out, bursting out into uncontrollable tears. You have no right to stop me from leaving, I yelled. Yes, I have the right because it's my pack, and I'm the alpha, he muttered, irritating me. I couldn't help it as I stood up to leave but knocked heavily on the floor. Why don't you listen? I heard him say annoyingly. Do you know how it feels to stay away from people you have known all your life? Do you even know how someone feels about being blind and can't do anything about it? Do you even know how it feels to be tortured? I asked in pain and tears. I can't let you go because it took me years to finally meet you, you're mine, me loose, he uttered. Why do you say that like I'm your little possession? I want to see my family, I let out, hitting my chest because these few days in the Dark Howler pack felt like 100 years to me. I would help you see them, Come here me loose, he let out as I felt my hair being patted softly. I would send a maid in to clean things around while I make you some porridge to relieve you, I heard him say as he helped me to the bed. The sound of the door cracking shut told me he had left. I couldn't help it as the sob kept coming with cracks and hiccups. My world has crumbled. I want to leave __. The thought of her saying that made me burn my hands while making porridge. I let the water from the tap rush as I kept my hand under it to sort the pain. The hand looked red and swollen from the agony. My heart hurt, even more, knowing that she wanted to leave me. Alpha, the voice of Nanny Miranda let out as I moved to hug her tightly. She was the only one I could trust with the care of me loose while I'm not here. Your brother won't let me leave, you are stealing me for the only day, right? Are you going to pay me a lot? She let out, making me chuckle. I would give you more than enough, Nanny. I let out, making her smile. What are you preparing? She asked, walking into the kitchen. You're making porridge. You only do this when someone special to you is in a tough time. I wonder why you need me to stay in your place during the day. She asked, tasting from the bubbling pot of porridge. It needs more seasoning, she said, moving to get the seasoning. She was the only one who had helped me set the kitchen and every seasoning. I didn't need to tell her where they were kept. After adding the seasoning, she gave me a small smile and a pat on the shoulder. Come sit down, boy, I will check the porridge. She ordered as I gave a small smile. Why have you gone against your mother? You are hurting her. She let out. You know I would never do anything to hurt my mother, but this intruder means a lot to me. I have never felt the mating pull since father killed my human mate Lily. I have felt that pull with this lady and I can't seem to allow her to be killed. She seems so adorable and I would regret it if I didn't protect her like Lily. I said with a sigh. Nanny, she is blind, but disability doesn't stop love or stop her from being a blind Luna, right? I let out, hoping she would understand. You have really grown up, I'm so proud of you, she said as she staggered close to me before pulling my head on her midsection for a hug. I'm excited to meet this woman that has made you all grown and thrived, she said, pecking the top of my head. She doesn't want to stay though, I said as she pulled away to get off the porridge. What happened? Does she not feel any mating pull? She asked, sitting next to me. She got rejected and banished by the alpha of her pack. Lately, Tiana got a hold of her, I don't know what to call her act. Stupidity, madness, or a fit of uncalled jealousy. I said, hating the fact that my mother had to side with her. Is that the only reason why she wants to leave? Nanny asked. No, she wants to meet her family but I can't let her go, I let out. Are you scared that she might be hurt or that she might forget that you exist after she leaves here? Nanny inquired. I can't imagine losing her, since I met her. My days have been brightened. I let out. Then if you can't let her go, try making her stay with you, child. She let out before caressing my shoulder and leaving. Sabrina Santiago, I woke up in cold sweat and tears down my face. My hands were shaking pretty badly with little flashes of yesterday's memory. The only variation from last time was that Alpha Kai wasn't here to force me not to leave. I sat up trying to solace myself. I tried to breathe calmly but the door shoved open slightly. Good day, Luna, the elderly female voice spoke. "Hello, it's Sabrina, not Luna," I said calmly. For some reason, I almost ran to hug this person because it reminded me of Grandma a lot. "Oh, poor child, you seem weak," I heard her say, and in a second I felt a hand on my head. "You're hot and running a temperature," she let out calmly, making a few drops of tears fall from my eyes. "I'm not pleased to see you crying in front of me. Alpha Kai might get mad at me if he bursts through that door and catches you crying. He might think I made you cry," she said as I felt her wipe the tears. "Sorry, I just couldn't help it, but you remind me of my grandmother," I let out. "Please, can I ask for permission to hug you?" I said weirdly. She said nothing else. That instantly made me feel like I had gone past my boundaries. I was still in my thoughts when I was snatched into a hug. "You remind me of my daughter," she said, rubbing my back. "You have a daughter?" I asked, pulling away, but she held onto my hands and for an odd reason I liked it and it felt comfortable. "Yes, one as precious and beautiful as you are," she said, rubbing my hands gently. "Can I meet her?" I asked, but she said nothing. "I'm sorry for asking to meet her on our first meet-up," I said, feeling guilty for asking. "No, you shouldn't apologize, child, it's just that she has left the world for a better place." She let out and instantly my heart felt bad for bringing back a hurtful memory. "I'm sorry," I let out softly. "You don't need to say sorry, we must embrace pain and burn it as fuel to continue our journey. You're pretty, beautiful, and I know you are brave inside. You don't need others' viewpoints to stop you from having fun or enjoying what the moon goddess has in stock for you," she said, pulling me for another hug. "Your scar might get infected if we don't treat it fast," she said as my cloth was pushed down a little. "You should have your breakfast while I run you a hot bath," she said before setting something on the bed. "What is the time?" I asked. 10:59 a.m., she said, pushing my hair behind my ear. "You know my name, but I don't have a clue about yours," I mumbled, trying to adjust myself on the bed. "You should eat, Luna," she let out. "I won't eat if you keep calling me that. I know you are older than I'm, and for now, I really like your presence," I said with a smile. "Join me, let's eat. I know you haven't had anything," I said, but she quickly declined. "I have eaten in the pack house, but I would spoon feed you," she said as I heard her footsteps, but I declined. "It's fine, I can eat by myself, I can sense it," I said with a smile. "All right, finish up everything while I run you a bath," she said as I ate the porridge. "Alpha Kaikon, I need to know everything about Sabrina's old pack," I told Collins, my beta. "Why, we shouldn't get involved in her pack. Our packs haven't been on good terms and they might ask for war if they find out that we are trying to snitch or something," Collins let out reasonably. "What kind of alpha banishes a blind person into a dangerous wood for no reason?" I asked, feeling furious. "But we have no business with that," Collins let out. "Of course, I have business with anything that once concerned Sabrina," I yelled. "What do you want me to do?" Collins asked. "Sneak into the Red Moon Pack, try to find out about Sabrina's family," I ordered. "Yes, Alpha," he replied. "What happens if I find them?" he asked further. "Tell them that you know where Sabrina is," I let out. Your wish is my command, Alpha, he let out before leaving. The moment he left, the footsteps told me someone was striding closer. Was that Collins? The voice of Nanny Miranda made me turn. Yes, I said, taking a sip from the coffee in my grip. It's been a while since he dropped by the pack house to see me. You seem to be working him too much. He doesn't bring me my favorite tangerine anymore, Nanny Miranda let out, making me chuckle. Nanny, are you trying to say he treats you better than me? I asked, but she instantly changed the topic. Does she have something to wear? She asked, making me nod. Yes, I left them in my drawer, I said. How is she? I asked, raking a hand in my hair. You should check her yourself, the poor child is only scared. She needs care right now and space to get herself together, she uttered. I don't know how else to get her trust. I know she might seem frightened after being rejected and banished, but I have no sole intention of ever putting her in harm's way, I let out. Yes, I know that, but don't forget that you said she was tortured and thrown on the floor. You weren't present and had no idea of how much torture that child had passed through. She let out. Is she going to be okay? I asked. Yes, we just need to keep applying the anesthetic and make sure she takes her drug, she said with a smile. All right, thanks for doing this, I need to get my work done. I will meet you when I get back, I said, pecking her forehead before leaving. Sabrina Santiago, what is your story like? I asked Ms. Miranda as I fixed my clothes. I'm super glad that I enjoy spending time with her. What do you mean, Lu, Sabrina? She said, making me chuckle. I mean with Alpha Kaikon, you seem to know a lot about him, I said, fixing on the hook of my bra. Oh, Kai and Lisa have been in my care since they were little. His family has been a great help to me, she let out. But Kai never mentioned anything about his sister, I said, hoping she would talk more about his sister. Yet, Kai's sister isn't much to talk about because she is always out on a mission, her father trained her so well, and his brother is just 6 and so adorable. She replied. How was finding your mate like? I said softly as I tried to sit on the bed. Well, she said as I felt a brush being combed through my hair. I have a mate but not again, she said with sadness in her voice. Sorry to intrude, but what happened? I asked. He left me for someone else when I was pregnant with our daughter, she said, making me furious. What a heartless wolf, I said furiously. He must have his reason, child. As long as he is happy, then my wolf is pleased. She said, making me wonder what that meant. But he is your mate, right? I thought your wolf would be mad at him for leaving, I muttered in shock that she was this calm about her mate leaving her. When I was just around your age, I yearned to find my mate for all reasons. My friends would read romantic tales to me that got my heart thumping about love for a mate, but I guess there are other plans for me, let's say this is my fate, she said, making me sigh. So, do you mean being rejected and banished for being blind is my fate and I should let it go? I asked, a bit astonished by how calm she could be. No, my child, but following what your heart tells you is never wrong, she let out, holding my hands. He is evil, I let out a frown. No, I loved Melvin but he was too abusive so I had to run away from him and that was when Alpha Khan helped me, she announced with shaky hands. I'm sorry for bringing back hurtful memories, I said, patting her back softly. Sometimes, not all that glitter is gold. Sometimes you need to hit the rough patches of life to understand what is better ahead of you, she said, making me nod. So, what do you want to do? She inquired, pushing my hair back. Can't I leave the house? I'm suffocating just sitting in one position doing nothing. I miss the woods and drawing also, I said, remembering the good old days. I can ask him for you but he doesn't want anything that would cause you harm. She said, rubbing my shoulders. I understand, it's fine, I said with a smile. But I can help lessen your boredom if you would help me bake, she said, making me nod with a smile. After a few hours of mixing different ingredients, we were finally done with baking a 3-step cake as Ms. Miranda had informed me. I was tired and exhausted but I still wanted to join her in frosting the cake. You should take a shower while I make you something for lunch. You're exhausted. She let out. No, I want to frost the cake with you. I insisted as a chuckle was heard. I like how determined you sound. She said. I can't believe that you made this frosting better than what I could have made, she said, making me smile. Not everybody believes that I can draw, I let out. That's not what I mean. You are great at whatever you do and it's amazing how you do it better than most of us with sight. She said, I don't know if that was supposed to make me feel good but it did work out well. I want to cook for Alpha Kai as appreciation for letting me stay here. What is his favorite dish? I asked but she declined instantly. You're healing and I have stressed you enough. Kai won't be happy that I'm stressing you this much. She told me. She held my hands before pulling me to follow her. Wait here and I will run you a cool bath since it's sunny, she said, making me bob my head in affirmation. The moment I was done taking my bath, I tried to locate the bed as I began to feel my body heat up badly and I obviously had no idea why. The aroma of strawberry pancakes filled the air, making my eyes ache with pain. The moment the ache stopped, I could see. SIV. I mind-linked at my wolf. I'm sorry for leaving you for a while, I have been this vulnerable ever since the rejection. She mind-linked. So how long can you lend me your eyes? I asked. As long as you don't get me too weak, she mind-linked, making me turn around to see the room I have been sleeping in for days. I moved to the well-furnished mirror. I almost ran back from my reflection. Is this me? I let out, touching my face. Yes, that is you, SIV mind-linked. I touched my hair. The color was nice and the texture was what I had imagined it to be like. My skin was like I had last seen them when I was 6, everything was just as how I last saw them just that I grew bigger and so much changes in my chest and body. The door being pushed open scared out of me. Your lunch is ready, hurry so I can get you downstairs, Ms. Miranda let out, holding the door and not looking me in the eyes. I'm used to following the same steps for days now, I would meet you by myself, I said, and she left without glancing at me. Why didn't she stare at me SIV? I mind-linked my wolf. She doesn't want to see you like this, she mind-linked back. The moment I stepped out, I glanced at Alpha Kai chatting with the plumpy woman in the kitchen. The moment he stared at me, he stood up and left and, for some unknown reason, I felt hurt. Sabrina Santiago, I made some strawberry pancakes. I heard Ms. Miranda notified me the minute she noticed my presence. The dark-skinned lady was the definition of beauty, her skin was flawless and she carried a simple but unique smile. "Should I help you set up the table or something?" I asked, walking up to Ms. Miranda. "I would have wanted your help but you might not know exactly where I kept the plate," she muttered. "I can sense everything, I would locate them if you explained to me where they are being kept," I said, not wanting to give her a hint that I could see her. I walked up to the highly decorated cabinet to take out the plate. I lifted a toe up to get 3 plates and a fork. I moved to the table before setting them up. "Sometimes I feel like you can see, the way you act makes it seem like you have your sight," Ms. Miranda said, slashing slices of the cake we baked a while ago on the plate. "I wished I could see," I let out with sarcasm. "Sit down so we can eat," she said, making me nod. I kept searching just everywhere to see if Kai was going to come out to eat but he wasn't showing up. "Do you need me to get something for you?" Ms. Miranda asked, making me wiggle my head to indicate no. Does Kai feel hostility toward me?" I said, remembering the last time we talked. "Why would you even think that? Someone who feels hostility towards you wouldn't let you stay at his place or even care for you, Ms. Miranda let out with concern written all over her purple eyes. "Just, the last time we talked. I might have said things that might have hurt him and a few minutes ago, he walked past me without a single word." I mumbled with a sigh. These few days in the Dark Howler pack have been suffocating for me and my wolf. Maybe he needs space to think, he has a lot to tackle, and feeling this attitude from his second chance mate wasn't what he would have wanted. Ms. Miranda let out, making me feel terrible. I had no idea that Alpha Kai once had a mate just like I did. "You should eat before your food gets cold," she said, making me take a bite. I stood at the window in my room staring at the flowers downstairs. The breeze outside made them dance at a single rhythm while the birds stuck around the window. A knock on the door made me turn. I was hoping that it would be Alpha Kai but it was Ms. Miranda who was there to tell me that she was leaving already. I hugged her and thanked her for today. "Is Alpha Kai around?" I asked before she could leave. "Yeah, he should be in his office," I heard her say. I stayed in my room doing absolutely nothing and he never once showed up to check if I was okay or not. Was he mad at me? I decided to check downstairs and maybe have something to eat but he still wasn't present even after I had finished eating. I was getting worried and sick of this game he was initiating. I couldn't help it as a tear escaped my eyes. I walked up to my room before forcing the door shut with resentment about Alpha Kai's behavior. I dropped hard on the bed before clutching my pillow tightly as tears let loose like a faulty tap. "Give me back my baby," the voice of Alpha Ray D. King let out and I hated the fact that he was asking me to give him my child. "That child is the heir to the Red Moon Pack and this is your chance to come back home and reunite with your family and we can be a whole complete family again," he said, making me spit out. "I don't understand any of this, but we can never be a whole family. You rejected me, remember?" I said. "I did something and I regret what I have done to you but," he tried to say, but I stopped him. No, but, we can never be a family with this child and there would be no us as a family. I let out, holding the child that kept crying in my arms tightly. Since you don't want to comply, I shall do this the hard way, he let out, making me take a few steps back. Get her, he ordered. I turned around trying to escape but ended up falling on the floor. I tried to get up but there was a sword on my neck. Take the baby away, Alpha, King ordered, making me struggle, but they had grabbed the child away from me. I woke up instantly as I kept breathing hard. The door of the room pulled open, showing Alpha Kai. Are you okay? He asked but I said nothing but moved back before he could touch me. I don't know why you decided to act the way you did but you shouldn't have helped me from the start or acted like you really cared. Why don't you let me go? I don't even love the dreams I have been having since I came here, I said, turning my back on him. After a few minutes of silence, I almost swiveled to face him. I wanted him to say something but he wasn't. A hand finally wrapped itself around my waist as his head was placed on my shoulders. A soft kiss was placed on my neck and in no time, I could feel my heart racing hard. He turned me around as I was being hugged into Alpha Kai's bare and hard chest. I tried to pull away as his blue eyes were focused on my lips. His lips were inches close as they brushed mine. That little gesture made my wolf too excited and eager to take over. I was going to move back but Alpha Kai held my arm back. He held the back of my head closer before smashing his full lips on mine. My heartbeat began to speed and my breathing became uneven. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.